Hi, my name is Amiliah Goodrich, and I am a student at St. Mary's University, Halifax. This video is for the course MGMT 2383 Microorganizational Behavior, and will analyze the concept of emotional intelligence. Emotions are defined as psychological, physiological, and behavioral responses which have varying levels of activation and evaluation. Emotions affect attitudes when culminated, but also have direct influence on behavior and actions. Emotional intelligence can be defined as understanding and reasoning of emotions, as well as the ability to regulate and react appropriately to emotions within oneself and others. I will discuss the key elements to emotional intelligence, as well as how these pertain and have pertained to my own experiences in the workplace and social situations. The video will be segregated into sections according to the 4 consecutive platforms of emotional intelligence: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. Let's go! Self-awareness. The first step in the process of gaining emotional intelligence is becoming aware of one's own emotions. This requires a recognition of the variety of emotions and their activation levels, as well as whether they are positive or negative. This is actually quite a difficult task since there is such a variety of emotions, and it may be challenging to pinpoint the exact emotion. It is not a statement, but an understanding. Just as you can't use a word without knowing the definition of a word, one can't fully monitor or alter their emotional state if they don't know what they are feeling. I remember when I toured Ontario with theatre performances, I would always feel a high activation emotion when waiting in the curtain before going on stage. When I was performing in Picasso at the L'Enfant Agile, however, I realized that the emotion had the same physical response as nervousness, which included shaking, increased heart rate, and restlessness. But the emotion was actually excitement. I could then regulate this emotion, especially since it was a positive one. Self-management. Once one can recognize their emotions, it allows them the ability to regulate their emotions through self-management. In the workplace, especially in positions requiring high amount of interpersonal communication, individuals are expected to maintain focus on their task without emotions causing negative interference. Emotional labor is the process of emotional control to retain a specific display of culturally accepted emotions during interactions. If emotions were connected to the Johari window, a high level of emotional labor would require a reduced open area and increased hidden area. Emotions that customers are cognizant of may not be those that the employee truly feels. Emotional dissonance may occur when the distance between the true emotions and those displayed increases. When I was working as a waitress, for instance, I was dealing with the moral treatment from my superiors. Yet to retain an approachable attitude for my customers, I had to display a different emotion than what I was feeling, thus hiding any discomfort or high activation negative emotions I felt. Inside, though, I was stressed. Social awareness. Following the ability to manage and regulate one's own emotions, individuals must then be able to use their social self to identify the emotions of others. Being able to recognize emotions from personal experience with the emotion is an asset. But emotions can also be identified through nonverbal cues and communication. The exhibition and type of emotions also vary according to the age and culture of an individual. Working as an assistant teacher for a Waldorf school program, directing summer camps for kids, and even teaching English to exchange students from France and Spain helped me become aware of these age and cultural differences. When teaching especially, one must be aware of social development and the age range of pupils. Also, different emotional responses are allowed for or associated with different genders and different cultures. French students, both male and female, felt more open about expressing grief, distress, or sadness. Yet Canadian young men found the need to repress any display of these emotions. Relationship management. This is the final key to emotional intelligence, as well as the ability to sympathize and empathize. The difference being whether you feel the emotion as well as in empathy, or you are compassionate as with sympathy. I personally think that the key to managing the emotions of others is to be sympathetic. I find that people are more willing to communicate and overcome negative emotions if I respond sympathetically and confirm their emotions rather than discredit them. Emotional contagion is often used to form a sympathetic connection when communicating, through replicating nonverbal behavior, facial expressions, and speech patterns. This is one way of accessing a personal connection with another. It is a more subtle way of letting the person know that their emotions are validated. In the workplace, once emotions are recognized and connections are established, trust is also recognized and employees are more willing to complete tasks. In teaching, I would, for instance, take a student aside if I noticed any abnormal behavior and ask them how they were feeling. Oftentimes, once we both were aware of the emotion, it was easy to regulate it. If it wasn't something the student could help themselves, I could find a way to make the situation more accommodating. One student was embarrassed of his lack of sports skills, so, during sports day, we communicated, and he became a referee with me. As a recap, I was able to gain emotional intelligence through my interpersonal experience in the workplace, and by being open to feeling a variety of emotional levels. One can become emotionally intelligent if they can recognize their own emotions and manage them. Then, do the same for others. Hopefully you enjoyed my video, and thank you for listening.